Flux! There it is. Hi, everybody.
We did not rehearse
We did not rehearse that. I just yelled Flux and you went with it. Welcome back to Doctor Review and Chris. And we're here for part 2 of season 13 of the month here in the show.
Oh, this yogurt's got bits in.
This yogurt's got bits in. They don't know you're eating yogurt.
Well, you do now.
So there we are. Context, everybody. Right, so you've presumably watched or listened to these before, and we're assuming if you're watching this, you watched the show, so obviously spoilers abound, blah, 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 blah. Village of the Angels. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it is pretty good.
It's pretty solid. I think part of that is having Maxine Alderton back as a co-writer who last wrote, if I remember correctly, The Haunting of Villa Diodati.
Yeah, that's what you told me.
Let me doubly check.
Unless you lied.
Diodati, that was indeed the last one she
Nice.
Village of the Angels, we get a concurrent plot. Because this is the one where we get the stuff with Belle on Pisano. And she meets Namaka, who's like, hey, these people show up, and then they...
everyone's here because all the planets have been destroyed, and so everyone left us come here.
Yeah, this planet's got like...
we get rescued.
Yeah, this planet's got like 2 suns, a third of a moon, and half of a planet's surface left, but it's enough that people have come here. And the Saviours shows up and takes us away. And we learn that actually it's Azure who shows up periodically with a passenger to steal away all life forms that show up there, pretending that they're taking them to safety, when, as we learn from this episode and the next, they're actually using all the humans to pump energy into something, which, you know, we learn
using
more about the next one. But Belle kind of figured... Belle's aware of Passenger, and at first I was like, she's awfully caught up right now. But then you realise, oh yeah, Belle and Vinda are probably from the exact same organisation, and he has mentioned, like, he's aware of Passenger. In the last episode of this, he talks about how they're trained on how to escape from certain sort of capture situations, and a passenger
he saw the mask on Amazon.
Oh god. And the passenger is like the last one because it's such an unlikely one, but it is on the course, so the fact that she's looking at it and going, wait a minute, which suggests to me that Passenger is this, you know, walking... Because here's the thing that really annoys me about Passenger, right? Sorry, just this is a nitpick of design and not the Amazon mask. Like, fine, what you got, sis, you know what I mean? But why is it a big, scary person? It doesn't do anything in that form. It just stands there and performs the function of, people get trapped in this. It's exactly the same as the Genesis arc from Series 2. It's exactly the same as the Cabinet of Souls from Class. Like, it's exactly the same. It's just, here's a thing, and thousands of people are trapped inside the thing.
Yeah.
So why is it not just like an amulet? Or a case? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, the fact that it's a person... ends up being...
No, it doesn't.
We never see it walk, where they're always just stood around looking intimidating.
Man.
That's all they ever do. So as a choice, it's like, it makes sense if it was, it's a defensive thing. It's so that, like, if anyone tries to what's it, the first wave of defense is the passenger form is like near invulnerable and will beat the crap out of them or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nothing like that ever happens.
No.
So why is it a person?
So it's not. I guess just to look threatening. Oh,
yeah, but it's not threatening in terms of like an offensive threat. It's a prison where you are kept alive.
But you won't know that unless you.
No, yeah, but do you know what I mean? Like it just doesn't. It's one of those where you go, right, the function it performs in the story. Does it require it to be a person? No.
No.
Then why is it?
Cause.
Yeah. But the idea that Belle sort of like susses this and everything and leaves the guy like feeling dejected because he feels like she's ruined his chance at escape. And then obviously by the time has passed and when Vinda gets there, some time has passed for him and he's like, I think she saved my life. Like, he's obviously had time to think on it.
He's there on his own now.
Yeah, on his Todd. Because he's probably warning other people to go away, like when they arrive now. That's what I'm saying, like when other people arrive there because they heard that's the place to go, he's probably now telling them because he's kind of thought on it. go away. Like, don't you heard the rumours were wrong. This isn't a place for safe. Like, go find somewhere else. Sorry, because he's sort of figured out she was right. They were taking people for something. So I like that because that's a little bit of like implied storytelling, but it's nice. I also like the fact that there's a mid-credit scene.
Yeah,
because it's like the Pisano plot with Belle is sort of it's there, but the angels are sort of the focus of the episode. So then mid-credits she goes, actually, here's your thread for the next one, because Vinda finally gets there. Belle's embedded a message in the wall, and it's the first he's heard from her properly in forever, and it's sweet. I really, really, really like the way that Jacob Anderson and Thadia Graham play their characters' relationship even when they're not together. Because by the time they do get together, it feels like a really lovely, like, yes, finally! Like, yay! Like, I do like them because they're so affable, the two of them, as performers. Like, you could take out Tigme, you could take out the notion of them having a family, like, on the way, a baby on the way, and they would still be like, yay! Do you know what I mean? That's just
that. The baby out, it's not ready.
Oh, for God's sake. For God's sake, Niles!
My name is not Chris, not me.
Yeah. Let's talk about the main plot. Angels.
Claire has been transported.
So she was from modern day. We learn in this that she recognised Yaz and the Doctor in modern day, not because things were the wrong way round. It's because she'd had visions of them. And the angel that tracked her down was not after her, apparently. It was after an angel inside her. There was an angel in her mind that had formed. What's interesting here is, like with all the other returning villains over the last series, Chibnall's got some really cool ideas for the angels. And the cool idea in this case is going, hey, you know that thing that Stephen established in their second appearance? Let's expand on that. Like, not necessarily add new lore to their abilities, but use their abilities in visually distinct ways we've not seen before. Like, someone had a vision of one.
So it exists. That
is an image of an angel. It's now an angel. But we also learned that it was an angel that already existed.
Yeah.
It transported itself into Claire.
Yeah.
By being in her visions. We see the notion of CCTV can keep them locked because they are being observed. As long as someone is watching,
that's what we were talking about.
As long as someone is watching the monitor, then they're being observed. Like the camera, doesn't matter. Someone watching it, it's being observed.
Yeah.
So
because that's what I was talking about like a while ago when we were discussing the pros and cons of angels.
Angels.
If one was going down the street, there's CCTV cameras everywhere, so they're being watched. So could they get anywhere in modern day?
Yeah. The answer, it turns out, is yes. Because not every monitor is being observed all the time. And likely, even if it was, the person watching it is going to blink.
And if it glitches, which it can make glitch.
Yeah, well, Chris and Maxine really lean into the whole they can mess with technology to their advantage. We have torches flickering, lights going on and off, the TV changing. We get some more of the Angel Bob stuff from Time of the Angels and Flesh and Stone, which was also beautifully explained. Because here's the thing, this is the third Weeping Angel, one of 3 Weeping Angel stories during the Chibnall era. Because the other 2 are video games. One is the Edge of Time / the Edge of Reality, which is not a great game, but I
get confused as to which one you like and don't like.
Edge of Reality / Edge of Time is the VR one that then was a not VR one, where you are a character swept into a story and it's a first-person perspective. It's not very good. The second iteration of it, where it's not VR anymore, adds the 10th Doctor and expands the story by like another hour and a half. And, remind me, we need to chuck that.
I'm tying it up.
Today. No, sorry, I'll carry it this way. Sorry, we're just doing some like household stuff.
I just put a banana skin in a bin.
Banana bin skin.
Banana bin skin.
And so that one's that one. That one's not very good, but its Weeping Angel segment taking place in Victorian England is phenomenal. Like, it's really, really good.
Yeah.
Because, again, it's the whole thing of you are now finally in a first-person perspective being pursued by these things, and it's whenever you look away from them, you turn back and they've moved position. It also really, really well utilises the voices of other people, like voices on a recording, on a gramophone, and it's eerie as sin. The other game is The Lonely Assassins. That's the one that you can play on console and PC, but it's a mobile game. You're meant to play it with headphones. The one you like? That one's incredible.
Is that the one with the lift?
The lift? No. That's the first person in reality. Right. This is the one that looks like a phone. Like, it looks like a phone screen the whole time. It is brilliant, and it really uses them super well. In the articles on the websites you read in the game, if you choose to just read them all thoroughly, you learn more about their mythology and their abilities. There's even some of that happens in one of them that alludes to some of that happened in this, in terms of what they can do to people if they choose to. So if they want to make their touch something a bit more dangerous to your physical being. They're used very, very well in the Chibnall era, both in the show and out of the show. They're also not overused. It's teased throughout this serial, but then this is the episode where it's here's where their involvement is. And it's great, because again, coming through the TV, brilliant.
That's creepy.
The drawing of one torn up by the Doctor that then begins to reform, they throw it in the fire, and suddenly it's on fire. It's an angel on fire.
I told you she should have burnt it when she ripped it up.
No, because that's still about... Well, that's what you mean, yeah. But, that was brilliant.
Manifested yet.
That was brilliant. The ones buried within the tunnel and under the earth, so their arms just reaching through.
Creepy. What film did that make me think of?
Did it? Not in your brain! Quick, use the mind probe. Not the mind probe!
Connected, or whatever she says.
Contact. They can't see you doing that, by the way. You have to describe what you're doing. You weirdo.
Bluetooth connected.
Oh, God. But, that stuff's great. The very, very... the very conservative use of the screaming face as well.
Yeah.
They only use it a couple of times. The games and this highlight their cruelty brilliantly.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're kind of enjoying what they're doing.
Yeah,
My favourite Angel moment in this, where they're just enjoying what they're doing, is where they start ringing the doorbell. It's no need to do that. They're doing it just to freak everybody out. And be we're friendly, we're just visiting. It's that's so creepy. They're really well shot. I think Jamie Magnus Stone directs the hell out of this. In fact, I think you put it in your notes, but I've remembered it. The mirror sequence. There's a shot early on when Claire goes to look in the mirror, and it's one shot. And it's from behind, and she bends down. You see a reflection in the mirror, and she bends down to wash her face in the sink, and there's no camera behind her, because it ain't a mirror. It's literally two actors mimicking each other's movements. Either side of the mirror is identical props set to look perfectly where they are. So well done.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that is so well done. One incredible sequence. And I think out of this series directors, Jamie Magnus Stone directed parts 1 and 2, and then part 4. And then Azur Salim directs parts 3, 5 and 6. I think either Azur was dealt a bit of a bad hand in terms of which episodes had to be chopped down because of the filming limitations and them having to truncate the series during production, or Azur's just not as sharp as Jamie is. Jamie's direction across his 3 episodes, even the beating you around the head of Halloween Apocalypse, the way it's shot is very good, and there's lots of fun tricks like that in the shooting. Yeah. You really get the sense of claustrophobia when Claire, Jericho and the Doctor are trapped in the basement and how it's escalating. And I think the Dan and Yaz stuff, it feels like there's a better version of that mystery.
I want to see, a spin-off of all them. Because I thought they were dead cute.
Oh well, we'll get to that. But Village of the Angels, which just that's where that begins.
Sorry. Flash forward.
Village of the Angels, like, I like the idea of them going back to the town and you realising, the Angels have zapped people back here to this point a lot. And then they've done something here where there's no one around anymore. And it's just little Peggy wandering around, like, looking after herself, eating food.
Peggy.
Yeah, but it's like, okay, that's an interesting mystery. But we didn't really get to spend time with it because it's more about time's folding in on itself. I don't think that gets resolved. The fact that it's like the universe is crackling in those two spots.
Is it because the angel and the doctors were there, and then once the angel and the doctor were there?
I don't think so.
And then
because it was happening in 1901 as well as the 67 or whatever you think. Do you know what I mean? It's just like,
that was creepy, wasn't it? Because that happened.
It's a great visual, but
that happened on the 21st of November.
Oh, we were watching
both of those, and we were watching
it on the 21st of November.
On the 21st of November, and that was a complete accident.
But also,
unless you did it on purpose.
No, I didn't on purpose. But also, I wanted this marathon wrapped up sooner. Remember? But also, the what do you call it? My brain's melting. The episode's broadcast for this one was on the 21st of November, Saturday the 21st of November 2021. And the 5th of December is a point that is brought up in this episode as like the end of all things. And the 6th episode went out on the 5th of December 2021. So that's some beautiful synchronicity. By that point, during filming, they must have gone... Because people are saying it in shot as well. It's not done in dubs. They've gone, right, this is when they're going out. This is when we're going to put them out. I mean, that's very well planned. The Angels look great. I'm not a huge fan of their new mask sculpts. There's a couple shots where it looks like the face is further forward than the head.
Yeah,
not in a lot of them, but just in a couple shots.
I liked
which the old ones used to be, but I think they were masked a bit better.
Yeah. It looks like somebody's been painted onto, as opposed to a mask.
Oh, so you're saying it looks good?
No. I'm saying it doesn't look... There was one shot and it didn't look like a statue at all.
You're saying their serene faces looked maybe a little too much like people.
Yeah, it looked too
instead of the
nice,
kind of
is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I get
like because the angels are angy girls.
Well, not always.
These ones were.
No, these ones are having fun. Well, that was the thing as well, isn't it? The idea that
looking.
These guys were a group of angels that worked for Division, specifically as their recall, unit. Like their whole point was, if people needed extracting from somewhere, they would send in the angels. Send in the angels.
You knew.
And okay, sure, but how does that apply in Division normally? Do they zap people and then those people are gone into the past, or do they normally do what they did with the Doctor, which is take her somewhere in the sort of between spaces? Well, it depends. If Division are no, we need that person brought in. Maybe they are literally employed to extract Division operatives who need to be recalled.
Well, that makes sense.
You say that, but then why would the Division need to hire Jadoon to find the fugitive? No, but that's what I'm saying. Surely the Angels would be more effective. I don't know. Maybe it's because they had to identify who the fugitive was. But I don't know. In Fugitive of the Jadoon falls apart slightly in one way when you realise that if Gat had just showed up in town on her own, she would have gone, yeah, it's her. Because she just recognised her. She's like, there she is. Especially because she recognised Lee. She was like, hello. Yeah, so it's, but it also is implying that Division continues. And this series has sort of said that. We've got the people watching over Swarm, and, Carvanista has left Division, apparently, but under a condition we find out later. And it's, I don't know. However, it does lead to one of the show's coolest cliffhangers.
Yeah.
The fact that there's an angel on the run, it's I know stuff about Division, and I'm going to tell people, and they're going to get me for it. So you're going to help protect me, Doctor. You're going to help me. I lured you in by using a human because I knew you have a connection to this, and you protect me. And then it goes, lol, actually, that was my plan, but then I've offered them you because apparently they're after you, so I get to be set free because I led you here.
Oh no!
So it's like, oh, okay.
A double-crossing angel.
Yeah, it works, but it's a bit like, alright, okay.
All villains are petty.
But this one, it's all about the tone for me. I think Gerald and Jean are... Jean's played well by Gemma Churchill. Gerald feels a little off, played by Vincent Bramble. He just feels a little...
Who's this?
The guy, the pair who've adopted Peggy.
Oh, absolute.
He just feels a little
douche.
like... No, but I mean, just the performance feels a little...
Oh.
To me, it's just a little bit stilted, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. It's just like...
Well,
okay.
perhaps men were like that in the day. Little shit.
Why have you turned into Lady Button?
That was a good impression, wasn't it?
You got your fanny out for everybody.
I do.
Hi YouTube, we're referencing a TV show called Ghosts, so don't worry.
I also pull her face sometimes. It's good. Anyway, yeah, I mean...
And the fact that when they get killed, Peggy's like, I never liked him. It's like, wow, kid. Wow. I feel like the reveal of Mrs. Hayward being Peggy means nothing.
Yeah. It wasn't a bigger...
Nothing. Because we don't find out what happens to Peggy.
Mm.
Presumably,
Well, she lives.
she sticks around, lives and becomes Mrs. Hayward. But how is everything fixed? Like the world, like the space and the stars and all that. When's that resolved?
So how old is Peggy?
Because Peggy was in a village that was getting more and more trapped by it breaking down around her.
How old
Does that get resolved? I don't remember that getting resolved.
I am so sure that Yaz asks how old she is, and I'm sure she says something like 12 or something.
She's definitely not 12. She's
she
like
doesn't look 12.
9 or 10. Like, let's say she's 10, and then she's in 1901. So that would make her...
Then was it 65?
Yes, that would make her 76 years old.
Doesn't look 76. Not even.
No, she looks good for her age.
She looked like she was in her late 40s, 50s.
Maybe they wanted Peggy to be younger.
Oh no, late 50s.
Maybe
60s.
they wanted Peggy to be younger, but they couldn't quite find an actor to nail it, so they went for an actor
find
who's
a
a bit
creepy
older.
doll.
I mean, they could have just changed the year to like 1911 or whatever, and I don't know. Yeah, there's aspects of it that make you go, oh, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. But as far as like tone, atmosphere, and hey, do you want to watch a Scary Doctor episode with those angel statues that freaked you out when you were a kid goes,
It was creepy.
It works really, really well. The psychic vision stuff's interesting because Doctor Who in the modern era especially has very much gone, oh, clairvoyance. Yeah, they're a thing. Like maybe they were born near a rift, like Gwyneth, or
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's a good theory.
Maybe it's about the end of time rippling backwards into people's minds. He will knock 4 times, like all that stuff. But the classic series is very much like, yeah, no, that's real. And the modern series has gone, okay, maybe it is. But not all of them. But maybe some of them. And I don't mind that. Like, in a world where we've got, like, potatoes with guns waging war across the universe,
Exactly.
I'm fine with there being some psychics out there. Like, sure, whatever.
But
If it leads to interesting storytelling, go for it.
Did the potatoes with guns have potato guns?
You're a bad person.
Was me.
And Kevin McNally as Professor Eustachius Jericho is a really fun addition and a great asset for the second half of the series, particularly in episode 5.
I love him.
It's cool to have sort of... It makes sense because with Yaz and Dan now off on a mission, even though Dan's new to this, he's kind of coping very well with it. Jericho gives you the audience POV character for them to explain things to a little, whilst also being a very capable person.
Yeah, and he's also seen a lot because he was in the war and he's a scientist.
Can we talk about the, you are observed and that is my power over you moment?
I fucking love him. Is he a bad person?
Kevin McNally has expressed some troubling views, put it that way.
Oh, no.
But people can change, and...
Nothing is sacred! Because I love Mr. Badger.
Yeah, that's the thing. You are predetermined to love him because Pirates of the Caribbean is like your favourite film series.
He's Mr.
Well, let's rephrase that. Pirates of the Caribbean is your comfy film series.
Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl is one of my favourite films.
There we go.
And he is so wholesome and cute, and I want to put him in my pocket.
As Joshua Gibbs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he's so cute, but the actor is so... He's so cute, I just love him. but I don't love his opinions.
Well, you don't know what they are. So
No,
like,
I don't.
you're going off of my second-hand thinking.
Yeah, but I trust you. If they're troubling, then I do not agree with them. But he's fucking adorable. Sorry.
You can still compliment. You can still compliment him as a compliment him
He's
as an
a very
actor.
good actor.
Like that's Kevin Spacey is a allegedly terrible human being. He's a great actor as well. The two can be separated things, and you can choose what to do going forward as to whether or not you want to support things like that. That's using your brain, folks. But
tricky.
Yeah, it's also interesting because this is Kevin McNally's second appearance in Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Poor bugger was in the Twin Dilemma, lest we forget. I'll pull up a picture of him for you. Colin's first story. The awful one with the twins who do maths.
Oh, God,
yeah.
Bless him.
Yeah. In fact, I think we talked about this at the time. I was like, yeah, he shows up again.
That was a long time ago. Was it?
It's Hugo Lang. Remember? There he was with his baby face.
He was a very unattractive man in his youth. Bless him.
He is strange. The haircut doesn't help, let's be honest.
The eyebrows are so close.
And being...
They're holding hands, the eyebrows.
And these are friendly eyebrows. They're holding hands.
Crazy.
And being in the Twin Dilemma certainly doesn't help either. But anyway, Jericho is a great addition. I love the fact that the undercurrent of this story essentially is fascism as a monster. Utilising Jericho's POV from having fought in the wars.
Yeah. And
the idea of, like, if people pay attention, if people call you out, you will never completely win.
Mm.
And in this case, it's if he keeps observing them, if he keeps them, like, in his sight, they can never completely win.
He's a badass. And he's quite handsome.
Oh, there we go. I was wondering when that was going to drop. You're like, oh, he's terrifying at his old age, at his younger age. Look at him, he looks really weird. I mean, now he's a bit of a snap.
Now he's a bit of a fox.
Now he's a bit of a granddaddy.
Oh, you've just made it so gross.
Well, that's the thing. Is it Kevin McNally you think's handsome, or is it Professor Eustachius Jericho you think is kind of handsome?
Both.
Oh, interesting.
He's got a lovely voice. I want him to read everything.
See, that bodes well for me.
Huh?
Because he kind of looks like my granddad did when he was a bit younger than when you met him. So if I end up looking a bit like my granddad,
Lucy in the future,
not Chris in the future.
Sorry, not Chris. Damn it, not Chris in the future. I can't wait.
Terrifying.
You're gonna be sexy. You're already sexy.
If I die young, it's going to be such an injustice.
If you die young, I'm going with you.
No, don't do that.
Yeah.
We've got dogs.
Dog. Are we going to get another dog?
In the future!
You get a dog for Christmas!
No.
Bork, 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 bork. I just got really excited.
I love how they're watching this in June going, why'd you keep talking about Christmas?
It's November for us. Late November.
Oh, Jesus. Village of the Angels is really
don't
good.
go outside!
Remain indoors.
I am a hermit.
Village of the Angels is really good. Like, as part of the Flux storyline, it gives you what it needs to with the Bell backup story. But it's mostly just a really creepy romp. Which leaves us on a great cliffhanger. Jericho, hey, Yaz and Dan, trapped in the past, no doctor, TARDIS separated from them all because it's in 67 in the village, and the Doctor recalled to Division, who apparently want to have a word. And you're like, what?
But the way she's recalled, holy schmoly.
Incredible cliffhanger. I remember everyone's reaction to it the week after being like, oh, that's the resolution. But knowing what the resolution is and watching it now, I'm like, that makes sense. Like, the cliffhanger is more about the visual and how scary the visual is.
Yeah,
it's not she's been turned into a weeping angel, which is what it feels like the first time you watch it. It's, no, this is just how they transport people. They've turned her into one so she can go to that little space between spaces they can apparently occupy before they head off.
But also, imagine if she sees, like, the other angels as they see each other, kind of.
Well, I don't think it's... I don't think it's all angels are made from other people. I think they're all just what they are.
No, I know, but like...
you mean
like in their consciousness.
Oh, in that realm, she's seen them and they're all like, hey girl! Oh, hey girl!
Hi, Barbie!
Well, I guess they're being observed, so...
Yeah, that's true.
Hi, Barbie! Hi, Jesus. And also, big shout out to Annabelle Scully as Claire. I think she does a really good job in
Really
this.
good job. Yeah.
It's obviously not as funny, but she absolutely went to the John Pertwee school of gurning and flaring her eyes to emote. Like, she doesn't hold back.
Excellent.
When all the weird psychic stuff's happening, especially in episode 6. When she's in the Sontaran lab, she's just going for it, and she does a great job. You feel really sorry for her. She was just a random person. The angels started all of this. It just picked a human, and she was the human. The bit where they've obviously filmed it on a beach to get those shots.
It's very cool.
Looks very cool, but I also love the fact Jodie Whittaker has just stood there in the sand in her boots. But the angel prop and Claire are clearly stood on top of sand that stood on top of like a board or a platform, because she is wearing like wedge heel things and would absolutely be breaking her ankles, and the angel's got a flat bottom and doesn't look like it's sinking in the sand.
60s, baby!
60s, baby! Woo! Notes. It's about
to take a sip of my tea.
Oh, no time for tea! Time for notes! Thank you for listening.
Okay.
Do my song.
I've got a few of them. I wrote, Mr. Badger! He's so cute. The shot of the Doctor through the wires of the... Oh, God. I wrote, what I meant was, the shot of the Doctor through the wires of the TARDIS was cool.
Yeah.
When she's looking into kind of, at the beginning to get the angel out of the TARDIS.
Yes.
I thought that shot was really cool. But I've written, the shot of the Doctor going through the wires of the Doctor was cool. I don't think the Doctor has any wires.
I'm not sure what you're talking about, you insane person.
Dan saying thank you. Dan saying thank you to the Doctor for keeping them alive was cute. When she's saying like, oh, God, she's complaining about something after having saved them, and Dan's like, well, at least she kept us alive. Thank you. Yeah. He says thank you. How sweet is that? Has anybody ever thanked the Doctor like that? Like straight after?
Probably. It's probably
very
countless. But it's the way that, again, John Bishop just being a great inclusion and being an incredibly affable and likeable character.
Absolutely. When they arrive in the 60s and that old couple are trying to use the police box as a police box, and then the gang come out and the guy goes, Jiminy Christmas, and his wife goes, language. That just tickled me.
God, he's a miserable git, isn't he?
He's so miserable. Sorry.
Although I do like the fact, that's cute, the fact that at the beginning they're using the police box as a police box.
He's really rude to his wife at some point.
She claps back at one point as well. It's just like, he's just like, oh, something about the state of misery or whatever. It's just like, yeah, try putting up with it for 47 years or something like that. How damn! Why would you still be together?
Oh yeah, that's
Why would you still be together?
He says, you can't speak to me like that or something. And it's like, ew, man. She speaks to you however she friggin' wants, dude.
She is your wife. She is the greatest good you'll ever get.
Yeah,
sorry.
Exactly.
You have to quote The Incredibles when you get a chance.
Yeah. Wives aren't just show for show.
But also, why
wives aren't just for Christmas.
But also, why is she still with him?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because it was frowned upon to get divorced. The bathroom mirror trick, very cool. We've already talked about that. People in the village disappear on the night of the 21st of November. We happen to be watching this on the 21st of November.
Ew. And we're in a village in Devonshire. Oh wait, no we're not.
Creepy static in the village house with Dan and Yaz. You know, with their records just going round and round and round.
Yes.
I've got a massive thing about sound.
You do.
Static things like that freak me the frig out. What was that game that you played where it was just somebody saying numbers over the radio?
I mean, Doctor Who: The Lonely Assassins has number stations in it, but no, you're talking about Everybody's Gone to the Rapture.
Yeah. I would, if I was going through a forest and I found, do you remember there's that thing where I think it was near Russia or something, somebody found a table with a telephone in a forest, and if you picked up the telephone it was telling you numbers. It was apparently something to do with the Soviet Union, spying on America or something.
With a telephone in the forest.
I'd piss myself. I would actually. Sorry, excuse my language.
It's fine. You've already said the F word and the S word in this. It's fine.
I would. No, I'm serious.
Every time, because it's always you who breaks the dam.
I'm sorry.
Every time you swear in a video, make a mental note of, flag the language when uploading the video.
I'm sorry.
Don't apologise.
I swear more when I'm tired, and we always film these when I'm tired.
We're filming this at 12:30 in the afternoon.
I am aware.
Please carry on with the point you're making.
Sorry. So that sound really freaked me out.
Jesus Christ.
But there were chickens, so that was good.
And no one said nobody here but us chickens.
I love chickens.
Even though that would have been the most appropriate time to use that phrase.
I would love to hug a chicken. Anyway, the angel coming out of the TV was super creepy.
Mm-hmm.
See, if they still made figures, I think that would have made a great addition to like a Jericho figure. Having an angel coming out of a TV, like as the accessory thing.
Oh, they say if they still made figures, it's like they do. They just have no budget to make anything new.
They made figures.
Oh, even then.
Right, made figures of the current.
The last figure we got that was on general release that wasn't a B&M exclusive, or a character online exclusive, was the first Jodie figure.
God.
And then I tell a lie. Very brief wave. That included Graham, the Jadoon captain, the reconnaissance Dalek. I think that was it. That was the last, here are your figures, folks. And the alternate Jodie in the pink shirt. It's like, here you go, folks. There you are. Okay. That was 2018. 2019, because the Jadoon captain and the reconnaissance Dalek.
Yikes. Angel Arm.
Can Hasbro get the license, please?
Angel, I want a Jericho figure.
Ask them really nicely to keep it in the 5-inch scale. No, they wouldn't. They'd want it 6-inch like the Black Series. Anyway, carry on.
Okay. Angel arms coming out of the tunnel walls looked really, really cool. Reminds me of a film. I think I just mentioned that.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't think what. That was helpful.
Labyrinth?
Angel... maybe.
Well, the hands.
Yeah, maybe.
We're helping out.
Angel Doctor would have made a really cool figure. Just said that.
Yeah, and would have been easy to make.
Angel Doctor would have made a cool figure.
Would have been easy to make.
Yeah, really easy.
Stick some wings in the back, paint, I agree.
The credits with the muffled music is really disconcerting.
That's cool, because it's. I guess it's implying that it's because the world's encapsulated in stone, and it's
creepy.
Just, and the angels affect technology, so it's just a bit like, ooh, yeah.
Great addition. I don't know what I'd do if I saw a weeping angel.
You'd poo.
I would poo, probably.
Should we move on?
Yeah.
Survivors of the Flux, which is interesting because the Flux is still happening. So the title is more referring, I guess, to the fact that there are pockets of reality out there, and it's very unclear how that works.
Isn't it referring to the Bells story bit?
Maybe, but
oh no, that's already happened.
It's more the fact that the main thrust of this episode is.
You said that really funny. Sorry.
Dan, Yaz, and the thrust of the episode.
Right, Sylvester.
Dan, Yaz, and Jericho trying to pinpoint where the Doctor might be, based on the fact that they knew that the Flux was tied into this prophecy of there being a final day, and if they can work out the day, then maybe from that they can figure out how to communicate or something. I don't know what they're hoping is going to happen, but the whole point is they're like, no, if we sit and dwell on how miserable and hopeless this is, nothing will get done.
Not going to get anywhere. Yeah.
Maybe if we do complete this mission, nothing will still get achieved, but we have to try.
I think she took that. She took a leaf out of Graham and Ryan's book because she wanted to find. She was doing all this research during the months that they were separated, trying to find the Doctor, and obviously that didn't do anything. But doing what the Doctor would do eventually brought them back together.
And I know we can't break the main story of a series to cover what's happening to other characters at that moment in time necessarily every time, but it does feel weird that one story, if you count the serial as sort of one story ago, Ryan and Graham stayed behind but decided to investigate alien stuff, and then not long after that, and then not long after that, the Sontarans claim Earth.
Yeah, well,
and it's just hang on.
That's a good point, actually.
We literally just left the dock a week ago.
Is the Doctor not Because they've only just, like, separated, really. Oh, no, they've not really just...
Well,
just,
it implies that
how
she and
much
Yaz
time
have
has
been... She and Yaz have spent a bit of time away. But it is that...
she'd be like,
if she did that every
Brian-
time, she'd be doing that for everybody.
Brian
Do you know what I mean?
and
She'd be doing that. She'd be doing that for blooming Tegan and Martha. She'd be doing it for everybody. You know what I mean? So I get it, but it's just the fact that
Chameleon!
It's,
Oh,
the
no, he's in the back.
it's the fact that it's... No, he's not. It's the fact he sacrifices himself, remember? Anyway.
Okay.
We have to rewatch Planet of Fire, aren't we?
No.
Yes, we are.
No, we're
So, the tidy master and his little TARDIS. Anyway, so, yeah, they're being as proactive as they can, but then it does tie brilliantly, finally, into the Joseph Williamson storyline.
Yeah.
And the fact that they realise that if they utilise they get to Liverpool and they utilise the tunnels, because it's years after he passed, but if they utilise the tunnels, they might have an answer. And of course, as soon as they get in there, this man who's been dead for like 30 years is in there. Because it's like him from 30, 40 years prior is still wandering around the tunnels. It's like, that's genius. This is where we sort of finally get the proper payoff for Steve Oram. And we learn what the tunnels are about and why. And we learn that he was excavating in general, and he found... Like, the flux essentially has been gradually causing a breakdown in universes and times.
Mm.
The fabric of reality is shifting. So he found a doorway in his tunnels to another time. And then he found another. And then he began to catalogue and document them. And then he eventually found one that showed essentially the end of all things. And he had the feeling, the sense that it was the future. It was where things were headed. And I think it's him who sort of calculates, he's one of the people who calculates it's like in 2021 or what have you, like he kind of narrows it down. So he's been wandering around trying to find like a solution, someone who can help, like whatever. And the moment they kind of come to him and they know exactly what's happening, the way Steve Oram plays that is wonderful. Because this weird barking caricature of a character that we've been watching suddenly looks so grateful and so like he's on the verge of bursting into tears.
Yeah.
And because he's like, oh my God, I thought I was God. He doesn't say it outright, but he's like, people mocked him. They called him the Mad Mole, the Mole of Edge Hill. And he's obviously like, I was beginning to feel like I was going insane. Like, but no, you're here. You get it. Oh my God, you are here.
Flippity flip.
Yeah, and I love that. I love that reveal as well of him being like, right, here's my main chamber. Here's a bunch of the ones. Don't go through door number 9. 9 means death. And the internet for a week lost their mind with stupid theories about how, it's the Ninth Doctor. Oh, no, wait, the Ninth Doctor's a War Doctor. Maybe it's the Time War. And it's like...
Maybe it's a room full of giraffes.
Maybe it's just a number, guys. Maybe it's just a number.
Maybe it's just a stampede of giraffes.
Look, it's not a multi-Doctor story until it is in the last episode. Just not in the way you're expecting.
Maybe it's raining donuts and everybody dies of gluttony.
It's raining again.
What's a donut?
Yes, we've got their plot. I think their plot's my favourite part of this episode. I really like that. Them traversing the world and everything. I mean, for Christ's sake, I think our favourite scene collectively between the two of us, and correct me if I'm wrong in this episode, is them meeting the wise man.
I've got a lot of favourite things in this episode.
Your dog.
He's like, I didn't actually write anything down about that because he's just hilarious.
He's such a charming presence. The proper twinkle in his eyes.
So cute.
What a great bit of casting. He was wonderful.
Yeah, really wonderful.
And that annoyed.
I'm joking with you.
Yeah. I'm teasing you. And then the second time he goes, I don't get to tease people very often. You're like, oh. People online, there was a batch of people who hated that. Cause like, why would you get a random comedy character? And it's like, oh mate, just you wait until the freaking corner shop in the next episode. If you hate this as a gag, just you wait until chocolate.
Guys, it's a kids show.
For God's sake. And also, they've been on a big, epic, terrifying 3+ year quest. Let them have a moment of levity with this strange man on a hill.
Not everybody in the
who
world
is also
serious and scary.
Another clairvoyant. So, surprised Claire's surname isn't Voyant, actually. Anyway.
That'd be a bit too
on the news! That's great. The stuff on the ship's great. You started to fancy Mandip Gill in this one.
I can't talk about it. She's literally stunning.
It's because she's suddenly dressed as one of your favourite characters from anything ever. She's basically dressed as Evie O'Connell.
That gave me serious bi panic when I was very young.
She's in full.
If you didn't watch The Mummy and have a sexual awakening,
to at least one of the main characters.
To at least what? How many? Is it like four? Four of them? 5?
5 if you count Jonathan, I guess.
Absolutely not Jonathan.
Wow.
What a scoundrel.
Wow. So.
Yeah, 5.
Where was I going with this?
Sorry.
Anyway, so yeah, that bit's the best bit to me.
Yeah, she's beautiful.
Vinda finally bumping into Diane. So Vinda essentially discovers the Ravagers have taken a load of the people they've captured in Passengers to this place where they're being sort of murdered and turned into that time force, as it's called, which we then learn really briefly in dialogue in episode 6. And I've got to say, the thing that kind of contextualised this best for me, on the Blu-ray, on the DVD, on the second disc, is a feature called like the Timeline of the Flux, or something like that, or Breakdown of the Flux. And it's an interview with Chris Chibnall and an interview with Jodie Whittaker that kind of explains the plot in a way where you go, oh right, oh yeah. And it sort of brings me to my final conclusion about this series, which I'll say now and I'll dwell on as we finish, but like, I think it's a very good story, just shoddily told, ultimately, this series.
Yeah, it is a bit all over the place.
Maybe 2 more episodes as intended would have helped. Maybe removing 1 or 2 subplots would have helped. I mean, let's get on to... Oh, God. Let's get on to the subplot in this episode, which is aesthetically very pleasing and gives us some time with a great actor, but makes no sense whatsoever. And that is the Grand Serpent subplot in this episode.
Yeah, that essentially goes nowhere, really, doesn't it?
Craig Parkinson is great. He's really, really good. And
what is his purpose, though?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? What's the other fella's name? I always forget his name. Robert Bathurst. I look at him and I instantly just hear the word toast. That's all I hear. But Robert Bathurst as Farquhar of what becomes Unit. We learn essentially that things being displaced in time includes the Grand Serpent, who also somehow is able to travel through time, which is never explained. Because over the course of what Kate Stewart, because Gemma Redgrave reappears, and once again being written by Chris Chibnall, who created the character, it's probably the best she's been written in a while.
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
Like, according to her, she speculates the Grand Serpent's probably only even been playing the role of Prentice for about a week over the course of, like, 60, 70 years in Earth time.
Yeah.
The idea that, like, he got in there... Does it
imply that he pops in and pops out?
Yeah, like, he's on his charity ventures and his philanthropic trips and everything, which is why heads of unit or funders of unit only ever sort of meet him once, maybe twice during their own jurisdiction. So the implication is no one's ever really... It's only ever been whispers that, like, yeah, apparently he doesn't age. Because no one's ever really met him more, like, within their tenure.
Yeah.
But, like, the idea of a villain or an unscrupulous character being involved in the creation of unit for their own purpose, I don't think is a bad idea. Like, I think that's kind of a cool idea. But what does it amount to?
Yeah, what is his purpose? What does he want?
What it amounts to is he dismantles unit in 2018, which in Resolution we learned that unit was suspended for a time due to funding cuts, Brexit joke. But here we learn that actually it's because he suspended them because he was preparing for 2021 so that there'd be no defence, no awareness in the time building up to it of the Sontarans' plan to arrive.
But then what
because unit of course would be the first people to become aware of that.
Yeah.
So cool. But does that mean that, like, that office has been sat there with the unit screensavers and everything for 3 years? Because when it cuts to him, like, allowing the Sontaran commander, like, the green light, it's clearly just shot on the same day as the 2018 sequence with Kate. It's like, could you not close everything down and maybe have him come in and go into one of the drawers, like find a cabinet and like open some up and reveal like something that's been left there from 2018 that has been hidden there, and then he uses it to. Do you know what I mean? It's like, hang on, unit's gone. So in 2018, this is where it melds into the last episode. In 2018, Kate went on the run because he made an attempt on her life. After he realised she'd taken precautions so she couldn't be killed by his like projection snake power thing.
Right, she couldn't be killed by a snake.
Which we then learn in part 6.
A worm.
Well, then we learn in part 6 that he is a dual life form. Like, he is both of those life forms. And the smaller requires living in his body to survive. The smaller part of him requires that. But he can kind of project it into other things. So people are suffocated because essentially it just like crawls around in their body and then fills their throat and they choke, I guess.
That's gross. And the gross CGI of their mouths going all wide.
Yeah,
Didn't like that.
It's gone all big. But Kate's like, again, the monologue Kate has where she addresses him is great. Brilliantly written, fantastically performed by Gemma Redgrave, and really sets up the idea of her being like, yeah, like, I've been waiting to have a sit-down chat with you because I've done digging. And here's the things I've pieced together about you, and I suspect I'm right. And she is on pretty much all of them. So then she goes dark because he has a bomb installed at her home that blows up her front door, I guess.
Yeah, it's it's on her lock, isn't it?
Yeah.
So as soon as she turns the lock, it gets activated.
She goes off the grid because he's after her. We get a brief mention of Osgood.
Can I just ask, how easy is it to snap these phones?
Well, it's not easy. It was a flip phone. So it would have been like a work. It was her work phone.
Oh yeah, because there's a shot of it when she walks away. Sorry,
she cracks it and then leaves. But
she just snaps it.
So what? For 3 years, she's still been wearing. Like, here's the weird thing: when she comes back in the Vanquishers, she's been leading the human resistance against the Sontarans, apparently. But we never see any of that. We get no implication of that. We get no resolution to that. The only thing we have to that may explain any of it is Prentice interrogates and kills a dude at a train tracks.
Yeah, that's really random.
So I'm guessing he's part of the Resistance too, but what do the Resistance do? Is this implying that the Sontarans being in Liverpool in part 2 is the same like timeline of this happening?
Would they not get everyone to the tunnels?
Because then that would explain who those people were on the docks that they executed in episode 2. But we get no indication that they're part of a resistance. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit scattershot. Like I said, good story, poorly told in places.
Yeah, the details don't make sense.
Yeah, but
if they're there at all.
If they're there at all. I don't hate Diane kind of having figured out how Passenger works, because it's implied that she is the only one left in there for definite, probably because Swarm and Azure have put her to one side as a plaything contingency plan, essentially. Yeah, not because they think Dan's a threat, but because they know they can possibly use Diane. Like, they're thinking of Diane as, oh yeah, do you know what this cable's for? No idea. Tell you what, put it in the drawer, we might need it later.
Yeah, she's a hostage.
Like, that's all they're using her for. But Diane's been proactive. Because obviously if you're inside Passenger, you continue to live. You are kept healthy because you are a prisoner. So she's explored. She's figured out that there are barriers between different worlds within Passenger. Passenger's sort of got like not an antivirus, but kind of a thing where it checks in on you. And she's figured out that there's like cables under the dirt in one of the worlds. So when she brings Vinda there, she's like, well, they've hidden it. And if they've hidden it, it's because they probably don't want it tampered with. And he's like, you're good. She's like, yep. So
I mean, who knows how long she's been there? Like
it'd explain her like kind of, I'd like to not talk to you anymore in episode 6 if she's been there for a very long time.
I don't like that. We'll talk about it.
Yeah. The Doctor plot, though, of course, is what's meant to be the main draw. Because obviously Bell and Carvanista meet up. Like, he recalls the Lupari ship that she got hold of, and she just misses Vinda, but that all gets resolved in the next part.
That's funny, because when she and Fashionista see each other... when they see each other, pretty much straight away the ship gets attacked.
Yeah, well, they have a shoot-off, don't they?
Oh, yeah. And then...
it's like, face me! And she's like, alright. She just like stands in the corridor ready to shoot him.
And then they start saying exactly the same things. I love when that happens. I'm cheesy. I love when that happens. In anything, really.
But
they're after me. They're after you.
The Doctor's recalled to Division where she meets an Ood. The effects team did a great job making a new Ood. The only thing that's a little weird is the eyes are a little more kind of... The literal physical eyeballs are a little more cutesy than the previous Oods have looked. I think it's because there's more whites of the eyes and the pupils are really big.
Yeah, really big. Yeah.
Oh, it's got all big. It's still a great looking costume, and it is once again voiced by Silas Carson, who's voiced them in all of their appearances prior to this. There's also, funnily enough, the voice of Newt Gunray in the Star Wars prequel trilogy. You know, the vaguely racist fish villains.
Oh.
George directed people in some weird decisions in that prequel trilogy, especially for the aliens. But anyway, but he does a great job in this. You can tell his voice has aged a little bit, but I don't hate that, because it gives this Ood a bit more of a personal charm.
Yeah.
And we meet Tech Taeun, played by Barbara Flynn, who does a really good job in this. We learn that Division... we get everything but a definitive definition. It's like a 90% definition of what Division is. Early in Gallifreyan society, after Tech Taeun's experiments on the timeless child led to regeneration being a thing they could all have, she decided that, like, right, we're becoming advanced. They never mention them by name, but they're like, Omega and Razalon have figured out time and space travel and all that. That's great. We're travelling the stars. We're not going to interfere, except, hang on, that's looking a bit weird. They're probably going to use up all their resources. Oh, they might go to war with that race at some point. I know. Let's manipulate and destroy races and political regimes. And do you know what might actually save us time is if we just stop worlds from progressing. So the Time Lords don't interfere, but there is a secret covert ops unit of Time Lords, possibly not even known by the President at any given time, it may even be under their nose, who go out and stop the progression of certain races.
That's sick.
Or, sometimes, fight off threats to the universe, like the Ravagers. So, essentially, they are a self-appointed police squad that do what they feel is right, with no one else's decisions coming into play. And not everything they do is altruistic and noble. People apply to Division, people are recruited to Division, people either die working for Division or get sent away either with their memories erased or other presets put in, like we learned with Carvanista. The reason he can't say anything to the Doctor about their time together, other than, I love the fact that he finds a way to phrase it without telling her anything, where he says, like I would have done anything for you, and you left me. Now, from what we know, the Doctor was probably taken away from Division because she kept learning more and more of what they were about, and eventually was, just kept disagreeing with them. Fugitive Doctor's attitude toward Gat and everything. But Carvanista sees it as, you abandoned me. We were friends. And she even says the word. She says, like, wait, were you my companion?
Yeah.
I think Craig Ells plays that quite nicely, because it's like, I can't say anything. They've put a Suicide Squad style thing in my head that will kill me.
Yeah.
Because that's the lengths Division go to. Like, they work with a fleet of weeping angels to recall people. Like, they will go wherever they need to go to get stuff done. And Tech Taeun is still alive, presumably on God knows what regeneration. And
I called it, by the way. When we first see it, I was like, "Oh, that's that's
the Doctor's mum.
That's her mother that experimented on her. I think it on the first episode. Was it first episode?
A third episode, she shows before time resets on Atropos. The Doctor briefly ends up there, and she's like, "Right, stop messing around. Anyway, bye."
I said that then, and then you were like, "No." And usually I can tell when you're lying, but I couldn't. Sneaky.
It was meant to be a good story. Like, you ruin it for you. The problem is, you guess stuff for things I've watched, and then you ask me, is this what it is? And it's like, I want you to experience the story.
I know, I'm like my mum like that.
You do it with Christmas, you go, what have you got me? Have you got me one of these? And then I'm like, if I have, I'm like, God damn it, like, I can't show any signs of it on my face. But if I don't show any signs, you'll go, you're trying really hard to not show any signs. What's
Does
going
that mean
on?
you have got me a dog?
Oh, for Christ's sake. Yeah, she's right here. She's behind this
Bark,
Blu-ray.
bark, bark.
No one can see it.
Bark, 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 bark.
So that's what Division is. Division is now operated at a command centre run by Tecteun that exists outside of the universe and on the cusp of a different one. Apparently Division's headquarters have always existed there. They even have like a catalogue of things to take into other universes for study. And we find out what the Flux is. It is a man-made, Tecteun-made weapon that is going to slowly and steadily eradicate the universe. The only reason time's going all weird and wobbly is because it seems to have affected Atropos in some way. But it's going to take out everything, eventually. There will be no life left in the universe. Except, as the Sontarans have figured out, them, if they use the Lupari shielding. Because once the Flux has done its thing, they assume it will dissipate or vanish or whatever, and then they will be the surviving species in the universe. Having
then
won
they won't be able
every
to fight
conflict.
anyone.
Well, they'll just fight each other, won't they? They don't think ahead, though, do they? They're all about war, they're not about resolution. They don't want to fight the Rutans because they want some kind of noble end to it all. They fight the Rutans because they just want to fight the Rutans. I love the fact they get a shout out in the Vanquishers as well, except for the Rutan. No, Rutan, who are scum. And all that stuff is like brilliant. But yeah, the Flux is going to wipe out all the universe eventually. It'll take its time. And Swarm and Azure escaping is of no consequence to Tecteun, because Tecteun's like, yeah, whatever, they're just going to cause more destruction and things will end quicker, that's fine. Sure, whatever. And the reason it was created in the first place, the reason she wants to eradicate the universe, is because the experiment that is this universe, the experiment that was Division, is going to fail because of the Doctor's interference.
Yeah.
The only reason the Flux exists, and they don't say it in the series, but that little featurette spelled out better, the Flux was brought into existence because of the events of the Timeless Children. The Master made the Doctor aware of Division, and so Tecteun went, oh, great, she's going to come and try and find us now, isn't she? Right, pull the plug. Presumably only Tecteun would go across to the next universe, so she'd be starting all over again as Division. But essentially, Division, the plot of the series is Division is on a life raft, and it's buggering off, and it's blowing up the ship it's leaving as it does so. She also has all of the Doctor's past lives stored away in a Gallifreyan artifact, a fob watch, bringing it back to that. And if the Doctor really wants to know, Tecteun's like, right, I want you to stay in that universe and die, because you've screwed everything up. But if you want to come with and be Division and be part of this again, I'll even give you your memories back. You can find out. I'll explain everything. And that's when Swarm and Azure rock up. And they've been killing all the people to harness like the time force to give them the energy essentially to propel out of the universe to Division, because they have discovered that Division is in this little thing outside the universe, and they want to get there. Why? Because of the events of episode 6. We'll talk about that. Anyway, notes, quick, run out of battery.
You didn't mention that there was a cameo from one of our favourites.
Sir Alistair. Well, no, Colonel Alistair Lethbridge Stewart.
Yep, he was
a voice cameo of the brig.
And he's referenced.
Oh, also unit dating confirmed to have existed at the times it did. This series puts dates on it. It's like, yeah, this is the 60s, this scene.
Oh, I thought you meant dating as in like between two people.
Yeah, well, no, but like the whole thing with unit is stories take place in the 80s until the 80s series when they can't have taken place in the 80s and it becomes like complicated. And Moffat like references that in his episodes as well. It's like, yeah, unit dating, 70-something, 80-something, I don't know, it's complicated. I think maybe the files have been messed with. Like, there's references to the fact that the continuity's buggered for unit. Whereas this goes, nope, 67, that's when the things will set up. 67, 68, whatever. Because also, the police box is in the office. Yeah. Because it's been found in a village that has been abandoned. So after the events of Village of the Angels, everyone's just gone. The village has been abandoned, and there's just this police box there anachronistically. So they've brought it in.
Yeah.
But they can't get into it. It's like, right, so there's the TARDIS.
Strange. Yaz looked flawless going down into the temple. Hell yeah.
Girl crush intensifies.
Gouges. The Ood's eyes are really goofy. I was about to pop him with his own teapot.
One lump or two. One, please. And the guy twats him around the head.
Yeah.
It's quite a fun little meta joke.
On the boat in their quarters.
Yeah. Sorry, how does the Grand Serpent know where they are and is able to propel people through time to find them?
I don't know. I don't understand him at all.
That stuff doesn't work.
Point of him.
Like, I like the idea of, we've got a dictator who's been displaced, so has allied with the Sontarans to get stuff done, to put himself back into a position of power. But we don't learn ultimately how he got there, how he's able to send people through time.
And what he plans to do afterwards.
Yeah. I also love the fact that Dan, Yaz, and Jericho write a message for Carvanista along the Great Wall of China, knowing that in his time he will be able to see it, because it'll still be there, because no one will have seen the message, because time's all wibbly or whatever, and no one will have got rid of it. But then obviously that doesn't pay off at all, because they go to the tunnels in Liverpool to get to the future. So it's like, so what was the point in that sequence?
He can't...
like, it's whimsical.
In time.
It's whimsical, but what was the point in that sequence?
Yeah, exactly.
God.
I think I fancy Yaz. Looking for a home, somewhere to take over.
Right, so last series, Orphan 55, the world goes to crap because of global warming and wars and immigrants, mass immigration. And it's like, mass migration. It's like, that's a weird thing to say without elaborating. Okay. You know, probably innocent, but like kind of a weird taste left in the mouth there with that statement. Okay, moving on. And then in this one, the hologram left for Yaz by the Doctor, which is quite sweet, and the implication Yaz is basically every quiet moment she's had, she's spent watching it.
Yeah.
Which begins again, sort of the whole thing of, is there a thing going on here? She says, like, there'll be people coming to the Earth, because of the Lupari Shield, looking for a home, looking for somewhere to take over. You're like, there
was no, like, all looking for something.
Yeah, people looking for a home, or people looking for somewhere to take over. There's none of that. It's one and the same.
Yeah.
It's a bit icky, that, isn't it?
It is.
Getting some weird bloody vibes. But yes, you were saying, Sarah.
I wish Belle's baby Tamagotchi was real. It's so cute. Because she can see when it's happy and when it's... It's just really cute. Doctor's mum was a bitch.
Yeah. Sums it up. And then gets killed.
Yeah.
And we head then into the Vanquishers. Which is interesting, because it was only now on this rewatch I realised what the title's referring to. It's the Sontarans.
Okay.
Because they vanquish all of their opposition.
Yeah.
They go, hey, Daleks, Cybermen, you guys are powerful. We're all screwed. Come here. We'll help give you amnesty. Join us.
It's quite clever.
It's a clever plan for the Sontarans, but it's also like...
genocide!
Yeah, it's also like not very sporting of them. It's sort of against what they... Like, it's one of those things where they would hypocritically go, oh, it's a tactical manoeuvre, it's a strategy thing. That's why we're doing it.
Yeah.
And it means we get some Dalek and Cybermen cameos again, 3 weeks after the last time we saw them.
Yeah.
And cool. And you're probably thinking, hang on. So going forward, have they all been wiped out? Maybe?
Well, this is something I'm going to bring up at the end. Everybody...
Oh, are the events of the Flux ever reversed or referenced?
Yeah.
Nope.
So everybody's just getting on with everything?
Yeah.
Despite the fact that everything was destroyed?
Yeah.
People are dead?
Yeah.
Aliens very obviously exist and everybody's just fine?
Over the course of the next 3 episodes, we will keep an ear out, because maybe there's stuff I didn't spot on broadcast, but it's pretty much just taken as the Daleks go, oh, you took out a bunch of us, that's not good. And it's like, what? Whole planets? Like, huh? And that's why I thought the inclusion of time was there. I thought they were going to Superman the movie it a bit and have it be partially reversed.
Yeah.
The Flux existing seems to be the thing that screws stuff over. Time still being imprisoned. So the Flux being trapped at the end of the series means that that's not happening anymore. Time, the entity that is time, still being imprisoned on Atropos, means that time continues to flow, so presumably it resets and flows properly now, but we never see that. We never see new Mori being put in place or anything.
No.
This is weird. The Sontaran stuff's quite fun. I even don't hate the chocolate thing.
I thought it was funny.
Like, why not? Like, they can still be a bit stupid, but the episode also demonstrates how ruthless they are. They get to be the best of both Sontaran worlds, so I don't mind that. There's also a meme in it. And there's implications that they're using it partially as like a refueling thing. Like, some of the stuff in it is actually helping with their, like the gas exchange and everything in their body and what it is they take in and put out. I think Dan and Yaz are a lot of fun in this. Jericho and Claire get sidelined a little, but then this last episode's a bit of a mess. It does feel like a finale. Its momentum and pacing is very good, and there are bits where you go, "Oh, that's cool! Oh no, not them!" Like, all those moments kind of happen. But it also is just, it's a lot of stuff, and it's kind of a testament to, this series would be better had you taken 2 subplots out.
Yeah.
So, the Flux is absorbed into Passenger. So it's just trapped inside a Passenger. What happens to Passenger?
It just floats off,
Yep.
I guess.
With a Flux inside it. Great. We learn Swarm and Azure's motivation finally, other than revenge on Division. They worship time, the entity, the event. Time eventually leads to the end of all things. Time erodes. Time passes and leaves things in the dirt, in the dust and the dirt. So they want to bring that forward. They're comic book Thanos. They want to kill everything.
Yeah.
Even at the end where they don't achieve their goal, but they are murdered by time.
Yeah. Azure.
Swarm's kind of like, ah! And Azure's like, oh, fucking yes! Oh, hang on, just let me bash one out before we finish. Oh, I'm dead! Like, she's loving it. She's in ecstasy as she's killed.
What did she say? She says,
I ascend.
Essentially.
Because as far as she's concerned, this is what I've always wanted. Like, I'm experiencing it. We've done it to so many people, and now it's my turn. It's like, okay.
This is what dreams are made of.
So ultimately, all of this was, this thing's going to destroy the universe because we hate the Doctor. And we also want everything to be destroyed because we want everything to be destroyed. And time also wants everything to be destroyed? Time, the entity? Okay. What? Huh. Like, there's some big ideas here. Like I said, there's an interesting idea here. I just don't think it's very well told. I especially think this episode isn't very well told. There is some odd direction, and the editing is dreadful in places.
It is.
Like, Dan heads off to the bedrooms at the end, walks halfway up the step, the Doctor calls to Yaz, Yaz turns, the shot changes slightly, and Dan is clearly not in the middle of the staircase.
Mm-hmm.
In the very same sequence, he comes back out of the doors to talk to Yaz, and Yaz goes up to help him, and there is another person in the doorway.
Yeah.
What's the line? You've wrote down your notes. What's the line?
Bob's in and Bob's out.
Yeah, so at the end, if you guys are watching The Vanquishers, when Yaz says the line,
let Yorkshire show you the way.
Let Yorkshire show you the way. Look at the right-hand side of the doorway that they're in.
Somebody accidentally bobs into shot.
There's a crew member in shot. When Claire walks along the village road and sees the TARDIS and Jericho, it's like, how would you not see that? They're all just stood there, and you're walking down a straight road looking ahead of you.
And if they'd have just got there, you'd have heard it.
You need to turn a corner, or you said, like, have a car drive past her and sort of, like, catch her eye, and she looks down the road after the car and sees them at the end of the road. Like, nope, she just walks forward, and there's something like, oh my god, you're here! It's like, you would have seen them for the past, like, 30 seconds of you walking down this road. I like the idea of us seeing the Sontaran psychic division.
Yeah.
Like, they sort of harness brains of prisoners to sort of channel a psychic energy in an attempt to be prescient and predict things. And in this case, they get jackpot because Claire is actually psychic. Jericho's death is senseless and stupid.
And sad.
And that's kind of the point, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't die doing something that saves the day.
But he has done something to save them.
Well, like the whole point is, since we first met him to this point, he has been an active part of saving the day. This is just oh bollocks. Well, I've had a good time. Like what he says, like what was it? He says like, it's been a great adventure or whatever.
What a great adventure or something.
It has been, yeah. So it's like, yeah, it's sad to see him go, but it is also like, oh, it's a shame.
Felt a bit Peter Pan-y.
Joseph Williamson getting like, yeah, off you go, mate. Cheers. Does kind of make sense because she's like, look, you having done this is pretty important. I am not risking you dying. Go back there, finish your work. And it's like, okay. There's a lot of stuff like that, though, and the scene with Prentice interrogating the informant at the docks. There are loads of scenes in this episode that were clearly fixed or cobbled together in post in the edit. Take a shot of water for the sake of your health. Every time in this episode a character says something pretty bloody important off camera and we're just watching other reactions. There's a lot of like saving it in post, doing it in the dub in this. And it's pretty piss poor once you spot it. The lung barrow visuals of the house. Turns out it's nothing to do with the 90s like wilderness years like novels and expanded fiction, but it's borrowing the visual of it, which is fair enough. And as Swan words it, your memories are in there, mate. That's why the fob watch isn't just here it is. It's like, no, it's giving her access to them. They're in there. I'm going to break it up and screw with you. Oh, don't worry, I fixed it. Oh, I'm going to break it up. So it's just the Ravagers torturing the Doctor, essentially, and teasing her. And I do love, and again, big props to Rashenda Sandal as Azure, the scene where she sat there like, why do you care about everyone living? Is really well done. Yeah. Like, she's great in that scene. And you ultimately learn that the reason these guys are doing it is because they just want everyone dead. Yeah. Because that's their belief. Everyone should die. Yeah. Like, your belief is everyone should live. I think you're insane. You think I'm insane. Guess we're never going to agree. And it's like... Let's call the whole thing off. And it's... it's very... Like, it's supervillain levels of logic, but it's fine. Like, because of her performance, ultimately. The Three Doctors is very cool. Yeah, I like that. Jodie plays that well. She gets some of her best moments in this. Her best scene for me in all of this, no matter any of the emotional arcs of the series and finding out who she is and all that stuff, her best scene is the one where she's being tortured by the Grand Serpent. Yeah. She plays that so well. So bloody well. She's incredible. I don't understand the Grand Serpent's purpose. Like, she says, like, so what's going to happen? Like, the Sontarans win and then you take over or you eradicate them all. And it's like, yeah, but then what? Like, rule over, like, the few remaining people who will be grateful for you, like, ruling over them. Okay, and? I think his storyline is completely pointless. I just don't understand why it's there. I really don't. I think it's there because they were like, we've got a great actor in here. We should probably use more of him. But, like, it does seem scary coincidental that it's a guy from Vinder's past. Yeah. With no explanation. Like, that's weird to me. In all the universe, it's him. Yeah. No, save him for another story. Mm-hmm. Save him for a different story in the future and be like, you know, what do you call it? What's the actor called? I don't know. Oh my god, he's not... Oh, there we are. Yeah, Craig Parkinson. Be like, he's a great actor. We'll just save him for a future story. Yeah. Bring that character back. Vinder and Belle are a lovely little highlight of this. Their reunion is wonderful. Yeah. His reaction to finding out he's a dad is wonderful. Though we joked, didn't we? Yeah. About her being like... Yeah, like, essentially she shows him the thing, Tigme, and it's like, yeah, we've got another one on the way. As of yet born. Yeah, as yet unborn child. But I'd love if he then went, but we've never had sex. She's like, I'm just like, I've got to go. Goodbye. I forgot something in the, the empty place. I've got to go. Leaders. Carvanista's entire race being murdered is pretty horrid. That's sad. And I feel like he doesn't really get... Like, he does sort of get the moment of saying to Sontarans, guess what? I've taken control of the ships, dickhead. And I've moved them, and you're all going to get eradicated in the Flux. Did you say dickhead? You may as well do. But you kind of wish you'd at least, like... If the Grand Serpent's going to be tied into the Sontarans, make it so, like, maybe he's been there from the beginning, and there's more of a planned kind of angle to it. So the Sontarans have a a very punchable villain at the heart of their scheme that Carvanista could then just, like, murder. Do you know what I mean? Because after everything... Right, here's the other thing, too. It's an extreme circumstance, and the Doctor, like, has occasionally allowed death to happen to a villain or a creature or whatever if it means saving everybody else.
Yeah.
They make the hard decisions. They don't like it, and it hangs heavy on them forever.
Yeah.
But they will always try and find a way around killing if possible. In this, she's like, oh yeah, we're not going to stop the Sontarans killing all Sandmen and Daleks. Anyway,
and
then she's like, hey, Carvanista, you go ahead and kill all the Sontarans with the Flux. That's cool. You do that. That's great. I'm fine with that. But also, if they're happy killing off all the Daleks, Sidemen and Sontarans, why are they only exiling the Grand Serpent?
Kill him, huh?
It's the Tim Shaw thing again. Like, don't kill him. Oh yeah, trap him forever in a chamber where he'll never live again. That's fine.
He'll die eventually.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, what is this? I do feel like when it comes to resolutions, Chibnall is a bit crap at figuring out what the moral of the story is. But as far as the Doctor's quest, and at the end of the series they're being like, yeah, I don't need to know. Not right now. Like, it's weird because it's played beautifully by Jodie when she gives the phone watch to the TARDIS and like, hide this somewhere safe. Like, somewhere even I can't find it unless I really, really, really ask for it. I like that that's a PS. That she's like, yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
But wasn't that what she learned at the end of Series 12?
Explain.
When is being you ever... When is... like, the future Doctor and the Matrix and everything's basically like, why would you ever stop being you? And at the end of that series, she's like, yeah, I'm me. Yeah. I'm going to get stuff done.
Right.
This is the exact same conclusion. She just knows a little bit more about the stuff she was like, oh, I'm not fussed about that.
Oh, God.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right, actually. I don't get it. And everybody's fine. Everybody's just absolutely fine with the fact that the Earth was taken over by Sontarans. And
the universe is breaking to pieces.
I mean, the planet... Did the Fashionistas race include the moon in the cover?
In our orbit?
Yeah.
The rest of the planets in our solar system?
Yeah, it would... The sun...
Depending on which angle it came from, yeah. Because that's the thing, the Flux looks all-encompassing in episode 1, but when we see it in other episodes, it is kind of like a cloud. So it's not covering everything, it's moving. It's
like a wave.
Yeah, so it's just hovering around so it eventually eradicates everything.
But but everybody in the museum is just going around the museum as if like, la la la. No.
Oh, at the end? Yeah.
It's like, what?
You go on, read your notes because we're gonna have to wrap up. But like,
I don't like that. Didn't want to
see Dan.
That doesn't make any sense because especially he technically went to save her.
Yeah, and they'll definitely had a conversation between like where we saw them in the TARDIS and him coming to visit her at work.
It's harsh.
But at the same time, I understand if she was just like, I'm not ready yet. Like if she sort of said that.
If she just said
or if it was played a little bit more as like, she's like, I'm sorry, man, but no, please leave me alone.
Yes, but not now.
Or even just like, I'm sorry, please go away from me. Like, just, she's clearly... But the thing is, she's so capable and on it prior to that, even inside Passenger.
She's hung up on the fact
that it feels weird she'd be angry at Dan.
She's hung up on the fact that he didn't turn up.
Like, I'd be like, yeah, that's the way it comes across. Like, if it was her just being like, I've been through so much, I don't want to think about any of it. You're part of that. Sorry, mate. Give me some space.
Yeah.
Fair enough, but it's not that.
No.
It's sort of played in the direction and the script as like, she's going, leave me alone.
The Doctor and Yaz's hug, I thought that was really sweet. When they've not seen each other for a long time. Sontaran Commander Stink. I don't think his name was Stink.
It sounded like it, though, didn't it?
But it sounded like it.
Yeah.
Sontaran.
I'll look at the credits, actually.
The house with the Doctor's memories in looked like... Stenk. It's close.
And then Dan Starkey played Stenstarg, Shallow, and Kragar. He played 3 different Sontarans.
The house that the memories are in for the Doctor looks like Baba Yaga.
Yeah, you get Baba Yaga. Yeah. Just give us some chicken legs and we're on to a winner.
I don't understand what's happening. Okay, I started laughing in the middle of the episode and I didn't tell Christopher why.
Mm-hmm.
Azure looks like a boobar. I couldn't figure figure out what she looked like.
That's what a boobar's. That's what an aged boobar looks like.
If you don't
when its flesh has receded a bit and it's got wrinkles.
It's dehydrated.
And a head injury.
If you don't know what a boobar is, Google it.
Look it up. That's what happens when you pull the neck things down and you can see the whole face.
Gross. And they just want to kill everyone.
It's got gold teeth.
And they showed that to kids. Yeah. What was Dan's crush called? Diane. She's good with a gun because she went to Laser Quest. I just wrote, Laser Quest, I want to die.
Former Laser Quest employee.
I used to work there. Please be very careful, it's very dangerous. Disappearing Dan shot in the TARDIS, I wrote that for you. Let Yorkshire...
Yeah, that's really annoying.
Let Yorkshire show you the way, person in the background.
Yeah, so strange.
Stupid.
Ultimately, I think Flux is, as I said earlier on...
Problematic.
No, it's just... I think it's a really good story, poorly told. Overall. I don't think that extra 2 episodes that it was meant to have would have helped.
No.
I think it needs to lose at least 2 subplots. I think it needs to lose the Grand Serpent beyond Vinder's flashback. That needs to go. And the connection to Unit, that all needs to go. And I think it needs to lose probably the either, and not necessarily because of the episodes, it needs to lose either the division overarching plot, or the angels stalking them plot. It needs to lose one of those 2.
Yeah, it is a lot.
Because the division overarching plot, like, the whole... It means everything is one hell of a coincidence, essentially.
Yeah.
Like, obviously the division are doing the... Like, Tectonians sent the Flux because the Doctor's looking for division. But, like... I feel like the Flux being made by Division feels right because it's showing how everything is just a cold hard experiment to Tecteun.
Yeah.
However, I think the Flux instead should have been a thing that was already in existence that Swarm and Azure were going to use, and Division stopped them, and now they're back. The Doctor is like the Doctor has to piece together her connection to Division to figure out how to stop them from using this thing destroying the universe.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the series, it'd be like, well, we didn't create the Flux. Division did. Like, it was a catch-all. It was in case they wanted to kill this universe and move on to the next one.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, what? And then in the last episode, you could maybe have Tecteun's intervention, and do you know what I mean? But it's just, it's too many things. The angel stalking plot, like, the teased angel throughout the first, 3 episodes, and then in the 4th and everything, it's like, okay, but if you lost that, that's one less thread that we're all having to keep up with.
Yeah.
The problem is, if you lost that, you lose Village of the Angels, which is a really good episode. For me, if we're able to rank them, which we actually can, because it's just 6 episodes, I think Village of the Angels is at the top. I think Survivors of the Flux, just because of how fun it is, and how much it actually starts to answer some of the questions, is second. I think, personally for me, War of the Sontarans is third, because I like stuff that's just focused on the Sontaran story. Then Once Upon a Time, because I quite like that one. And then it's the Vanquishers and Halloween Apocalypse can sit at the bottom, because the opener and the closer are just like, what are we doing? You're like, what would you say is your favourite?
I agree.
Yeah.
I think I would switch 4 and 5 round.
Yeah, you preferred Once Upon a Time. Oh, yeah, you preferred the 3rd episode Once Upon a Time to War of the Sontarans, so you'd put that above that one.
No, I prefer Survivors of the Flux to the one before that, Village of Angels.
Oh, you think Survivors of the Flux is the best one? All right, gotcha.
Just because I love Yaz and
Dan and Jericho.
And Jericho, yeah, I thought that stuff was really cool.
Well, we're nearing the end game for our sort of marathon. We will be back next time with the first of the 3 specials and the final of the Chibnall Dalek trilogy, Eve of the Daleks, set in Manchester. What? Yeah, finally set on our home turf. What did you all think of Flux Part 2? And more openly, what do you think of Flux the series? Do you kind of feel the same way we do, that it's like, yeah, but You know, like, yeah, good ideas.
I can see where
Really
you're
badly
going.
executed. It's just a shame you went to 85 service stations on the way.
Yeah, flipping heck.
My
My brain hurts now.
My brain hurts.
Like, hurt
Full Gumby mode. We'll be back later. We've got to go now because we've actually talked a really long time about this. Love you all. Goodbye.
Bye. See you. Bye.